And as leaders, I'm sure that it is something that they need to be very mindful, very careful about. It is something that they need to put in a lot of practice and heal from. Otherwise, it's going to affect an entire community or an entire team who are also going to go out and do the same thing. So when we talk about these kind of settings, how can we balance this honesty and kindness in our communication to ensure that our words are always uplifting rather than discouraging?
So the question is, how can they promote the honesty and respectiveness in the community, isn't it? So to do that, they have to actually first be mindful. Now, when they are mindful, they have that conscious awareness. Okay, I'm doing something incorrect. So that's the starting point of anything gets corrected. If you don't believe that, because if you because you have worked in the corporate sector in the resort industry with several leaders, you would have noticed that some of these people, like you might be as the employee, you got hurt, but even if you talk about it to this person, he will say, no, I didn't say that, I didn't do that. It was just a normal conversation. Of course, I was a little bit loud, but I said something. He might say sorry, but in deep down, he wouldn't even believe that he did something wrong. So that's the most important, that recognition, that awareness, knowing that you are doing a mistake. So once you are able to identify that, that you are doing a mistake, that you have a behavior to be improved, you have to start healing yourself. You have to start working on yourself. Now, there is a beautiful verse in the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not change the situation of people unless they change what's in them. So now that you know you have some healing work to do, that's the starting point. Okay, you put in the effort, you do the effort. Also, doing the effort is not enough. You have to continuously ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help you overcome this limiting attitude, limiting behavior in you, so that you can elevate your position in the organization. You can get that respect back. Now, in coaching conversations, we usually hear this statement. Okay, the husband and wife, they have been living peacefully together, but now, okay, let's take the very common example where the husband wants to get married, as the like to have a second wife. Now, this conversation comes, and then the trust between these two people, like they agreed, they promised to live together forever, but now the chain is broken because the husband wants another wife. And he might be talking to this another person. Now, the moment he starts talking to this another person, the wife, okay, the wife cannot trust him anymore. Of course, it is something permissible in the religion, but then again, there are certain criteria that has to be. And then the wife will continuously say that he was not able to give me time. He didn't give this time to kids. He didn't give this money to us. How can he have another wife? And this, like, quarrels will start happening. And then what is the result? The result is the wife would say that I cannot trust him anymore. I cannot respect him anymore. So, like, the foundation they build out of love, out of compassion, and mostly out of trust is broken at this point. And then in the coaching conversation, we usually hear this, I cannot trust him anymore. I cannot trust him the way I trusted him all these, like, 10 years, 15 years. I cannot do that. Now, when this trust is lost, what happens? They will never be able to live a single day in peace. The same applies in the organizational setting, isn't it? Now, if your manager or the director shouts at you, says something bad at you, and then he says sorry at the end of the day, but you, as the human being, you are the person who received it. It would be difficult for you to heal that scar. that was the result of that. So it will take a long time for you to heal, to patch it up, and then to forgive and forget, and eventually get back. It will take a lot of time, and by that time, that organizational tie is lost. You might want to escape and go to another organization. You might have already started that journey of finding another job, isn't it? So it's really important to be mindful before this word comes out, to be conscious. And if the moment we know that this is happening, okay, we discovered we have a problem, so we have to be on a journey of continuous correction. And again, I would bring back the executive coaching element here, because executive coaching is what works in the organizational setting. What happens in the executive coaching program is, let's say, the person is using rude language to the employees. Now, as the coach and this person leader who uses the foul language, we have identified this is one area that he has to improve, he has to correct. That means we will be creating a plan where, okay, in the coming up 1 week, 2 week, that these are the things that you will be mindful. These are the things that you will try to say instead of whatever you are saying, and we have a plan. And then when he goes into the environment, when he engages in the work, the stakeholders, the other people in the organization who are his stakeholders, they will be observing. Did this leader, did he say whatever he was saying in the previous meeting, in the current meeting? So these people would be observing there. And after observing, they will say, hey, Ahmad, you promised that you are not going to say it, but again today, like you said it. So they will try to make him accountable, and also at the end of the 1 week, the leader has to go back to these people, the stakeholders, and ask, okay, based on my performance this week, could you give me a feed forward suggestion? So could you give me a feed forward suggestion on how I can improve next week? So it's like what would a process where it goes back in circles. I would say these are the kind of things that you can do in the family setting, in the corporate settings. There are things that you can do, of course.